Welcome back. The House Budget Committee voting 20-14 to advance the framework for Reconciliation 3.0. The budget framework outlines $95 billion in spending. That's $73 billion for defense and intelligence funding, $12 billion for agriculture, and an additional $10 billion for the House Administration Committee to advance parts of the Save America Act. Joining me now is Wisconsin Congressman Bryan Steil. He's the chairman of the House Administration Committee. And, Mr. Chairman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me in.
Let's talk about writing this Save America Act. What policies from the Save America Act are you going to be focusing on, and how can you get those across the finish line?
First and foremost, I would love to see us get the entire Save America Act done and across the line. The House of Representatives has done its job. It's a lot of our frustration with the fact that the Senate continues to fail to get this done. But I think inside of a reconciliation structure, there's ways that we can incentivize states to do this or require states to do this as well. We need to make real and substantive progress as it relates to election integrity, in particular, making sure that states are vetting whether or not individuals are citizens or non-citizens, and indicating that on driver's licenses is a huge opportunity to make sure that states that are giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, states like Illinois or New York or California, that we are actually vetting that out and preventing them from voting. Further, there are already 23 states that have a really good voter ID law on the books. 36 states in total have some form of it. And other states like California have it as a ballot initiative coming up. We have an opportunity to also use some of these funds to incentivize or force states to get voter ID legislation on the books between now and the election.
So what are the red lines? Certainly proof of citizenship, right? Voter ID. Are these the basic tenets that you're going to attach to another larger bill? And, you know, realistically speaking, can this actually get done and pass the Senate, or are we going to see the House pass it again, like you've done several times already, and then once it gets to the Senate, it dies?
Well, we're having lots of conversations right now with our Senate colleagues. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson from my home state of Wisconsin, next budget chair in the Senate. We're having conversations about what we think we can actually get done and signed into law. The goal here is not just to have legislation that comes before the House, and again, the House has done its job time and again, and then goes to die in the Senate. The goal here is to make real and substantive progress on election integrity. And so we're having conversations with our colleagues in the Senate, with President Trump and the White House. But the goal at the end of the day is, one, we should get the whole Save America Act done. This is a no-brainer piece of legislation. But we need to make real and substantive steps forwards as it relates to election integrity. And hopefully, as we come back, we move forward this vehicle that will then unlock us to get the legislative text complete.
Well, look, there's still an uphill battle for this whole package, Congressman, right? Because the House plan increases the deficit to pay for the package, setting up a fight with the Senate. There are senators that are there, and you mentioned Ron Johnson. He's one of them. He's expecting offsets, and delaying passage in the near term would probably be the outcome here, because I don't see any offsets. Do you?
Well, in the House-passed version, there's not going to be offsets. I share the frustration of others. I think that there's an opportunity to include them. My hope is that the Senate actually does include them and sends this back so that we can actually make sure that we're paying for everything that we're putting forward. That said, the administration has also done a really good job of rooting out spending through cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. For example, I was with Dr. Oz in Wisconsin just the other day talking about the millions and billions of dollars that we can save through cutting out fraud and abuse in so many of our programs. We see states like Minnesota and others abusing Medicaid. We have opportunities to do real and substantive savings just because we have an administration under President Trump that's actually watching how dollars are being spent.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, you have an administration in place that's actually looking under every rock and actually blessing some of this innovation on spending. I mean, we're at this moment in time right now with AI and all this new technology, I think, that is just unprecedented in terms of this industrial revolution that we're seeing and all the spending that goes along with it. But this can't happen unless you have an administration that's actually willing to take a shot and willing to actually, you know, move this forward. So you've got a lot going on here. But in terms of spending specifically, we had the House Freedom Caucus send a letter to the Speaker of the House a couple of weeks ago, and they said any Reconciliation 3.0 bill must include strict dollar-for-dollar and year-for-year spending cuts to restore fiscal sanity and control the deficit and delay the looming debt crisis. So the question becomes, do you think you can meet that goal?
Well, I think also we need to recognize how important it is that we're making sure our men and women in uniform have the resources they need to keep us safe.
Yep.
At a period of time where global actors are threatening the United States of America, at a period of time when our military needs additional funding, I think it's really important that we don't become completely distracted by some of the broader conversations that are out there. Making sure that our men and women who are in harm's way today have the weapons they need to defend themselves and to defend the United States of America is essential. We do need to look for savings, and I think that's where we have a big opportunity with this administration, as we were just talking about, in particular as it relates to some of our entitlement programs, to make sure that we're rooting out the waste, fraud, and abuse so that we're protecting those programs for the people that they were designed to assist. And so we have an opportunity here, and I think we need to take it.
Well, look, I agree with all of that, and you know, you've got to ensure that the military has what it needs, 100%. And I also agree that the biggest drivers of spending are these entitlement programs. So we'll see if that changes. Congressman, I got to get to the House set to consider the Stop Insider Trading Act next week. This is something you introduced. You came on this program, told us all about it. It would ban members of Congress, their spouses, and dependent children from purchasing stocks, individual stocks. The bill received some pushback from your Democrat colleagues, actually, for not going far enough. Tell us where this stands and what you're expecting.
This is our opportunity to make a real and substantive step forward as it relates to ethics in the United States House of Representatives and Congress writ large. It's my view that if you come to Washington, D.C., you shouldn't be trading stocks day in and day out. If you want to do that, there's a place for it. It's called Wall Street. If you're coming to Washington, you should solely be working on behalf of the American people. There's a lot of concerns with members of Congress trading individual shares of stock. I think the answer is actually pretty straightforward. Prevent members of Congress and ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're serving on behalf of the American people. The American people, I think, deserve to know with confidence that their members are not leveraging inside information for profit. My legislation accomplishes that goal. I was excited the President of the United States called that out in his State of the Union. Vice President J.D. Vance came and spoke to Republicans at our conference meeting earlier this week, saying, let's move this bill forward. It'll be on the floor next week, and every person in the United States of America will know where their representative stands. Do they think members of Congress should be trading stocks, or do they agree with me, President Trump, and countless others that members of Congress should not be trading stock while serving in Congress?
You're absolutely right, Congressman, and I've agreed from day one. Are you suggesting that Congress would be allowed to buy things like index funds and ETFs? Are you just looking at specific stocks?
This bill is focused specifically at individual stocks. If an individual wants to invest in a broadly diversified fund, you want to buy the S&P 500, right. We want to reward people who've worked hard and able to save. That's fine. What we're trying to prevent is individual stocks where members may or may not, may have information that's significant and market moving. It's a reasonable reform that I think is incredibly important that we pass.
Yeah, and it's funny because throughout Nancy Pelosi's entire term, a lot of people questioned why it was that her husband kept making these brilliant bets, you know, buying Microsoft like a couple of weeks before it was announced that they got a defense package and a contract from the Department of War and things like that. So do you believe Nancy Pelosi insider traded?
Well, insider trading is so difficult to prove. Of course, it's already against the law. Proving insider trading is incredibly difficult. This is why, actually, I think the legislation is so important. It prevents the problem from occurring in the first place. So instead of debating after the fact whether or not an individual stock trade was or was not insider trading, let's just prevent members of Congress from being able to trade those stocks in the first place and do away with the problem. I have grave concerns with what some of my colleagues are doing writ large, but let's just remove the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think the American people deserve that.
All right, let me ask you about Senate Republicans meeting with President Trump yesterday, hoping to get his stamp of approval on the updated language for the Clarity Act. The House sent it to the Senate a year ago, and Senator Cynthia Lummis was with me here this week, earlier in the week, and she said that this bill will likely be brought to the floor in the next week, Congressman. A lot of people writing on this and business writing on this. You and other members of the Financial Services Committee are in New York to hold a field hearing on this bill. What can you tell us about the Clarity Act?
This is our opportunity to put real and substantive legislation on the floor and provide regulatory clarity in the digital assets space. Again, this is an example of the House doing its job. We passed this now approximately a year ago. The Senate has been struggling to move this forward. I'm optimistic that we get this across the line next week in the United States Senate. It's absolutely essential that the United States sets the gold standard for regulations in the digital asset space, that we unlock so much capital, human capital and financial capital that will come into these markets in the United States of America in a regulatory regime that protects consumers. Clarity does that. It's passed the House. It's time for the Senate to act.
Well, I mean, the Senate is wrangling with Democrats over the language on ethics, Congressman. You know that.
Well, individuals that are concerned about the broader ethics reforms, and I think that there is a need to look at this, actually should be supportive of the bill. If an individual is concerned about how meme coins were treated under President Biden's appointment of Gary Gensler, all the more reason to move forward clarity, to put a regulatory structure in place to make sure that we're regulating good and bad actors. The good actors in the space want the bad actors to be regulated. We all want the bad actors out. The Clarity Act provides a regulatory environment to be able to do just that. And so the individuals that grandstand on the ethics side should be more supportive than anyone else about moving clarity across the line.
All right. We will leave it there and keep watching. Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bryan Steil in New York this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.